and welcome to the Trading Battle, the world's most interesting internet trading challenge, sponsored by ACAP. I'm your host, Boris Schlossberg, and today, in today's episode, we have two leading Forex traders that go head-to-head to showcase their skills in a series of challenges, some of which are truly going to be monumental. Over the next 45 minutes, you're going to observe how our contestants operate under pressure and their style of trading. At the end of the show, a winner will be declared and their profits will be donated to the charity of their choice. So let's not waste any more time and introduce our today's contestants. In the blue corner, we have our defending champion, professional golfer, and a great all-around guy, YouTuber, and the host of Flex Trading Room. With more than 20 years of experience in the markets, he's determined to keep his champion status. Welcome back, Chris Pulver. Champion.
Thanks for having me.
Nice All right, everybody. And in the red corner, making his first appearance in the ring, the expert once served in the military before building a multi-million-dollar business. He now spends his day educating others on how to trade successfully. Host of How to Trade It podcast, one of the great podcasts out there. Welcome to the show, Casey Stubbs.
All right, thanks, Boris.
Hey,
Chris,
Casey, how are you?
Good.
Very good. Good to see you, man. Where's my friend Chris? Did we lose Chris for a second? There he is. Now we got him. We got him back. Chris, say hi to us. All right, let's just say hi to everybody. Chris is good. Casey's good. All right, I'm going to start everybody off by making you jump from, the kettle to the fire. My trading challenge of the day today, the first trading challenge that we're going to do is, Chris, you're going to pick 3 trades for Casey that you think are really going to be terrible. And Casey's going to be stuck with those trades for the next 10 minutes. And Casey, you're going to pick the 3 trades for Chris that you think are going to be terrible. And you're going to be stuck with those trades for 10 minutes. No stops, no targets. You're going to have to run those trades through the NFPs. And then we're going to see how well each one of these traders reacts to the unexpected. Because we all know the unexpected is what the markets are all about. And this challenge really tests their mettle and their pressure under no plan, no strategy, all market pressure status. So let's start with Chris. Challenge number 1. Choose your 3 trades for Casey and stuff him with it.
All right, Casey. If you're ready, I would like to see you work through Euro Swiss at current rate, dollar peso, and Swiss yen.
Okay. So wait, which way? Are we long, short?
What was the peso?
Dollar peso. So I'd like to see you be long dollar peso.
Okay.
Short Euro Swiss and long Swiss yen.
Okay, long Swiss yen. Very good. So he's got those three currencies.
Short Euro Swiss, yeah.
We're gonna put Casey in those trades. Our producer is gonna put those trades. So we're gonna have
I can take him too if I just
prices. That's okay. It'll be easier because our producer is gonna put them into the thing, and then we'll be able to keep track of exactly the prices and everything else. And I'll update everybody on those positions. Any reason for why you're choosing those trades?
Well, I'm going to pick Euro Swiss because it's the most boring Forex pair in the world, and it goes like 10 pips a day. So there's not really much you can make on that today. Dollar peso, that'll be
defensive play.
Very smart.
There'll be some fireworks on the peso to see. We've got non-farm payroll coming up in 11 minutes, so we'll see what the jump is there. Margin's going to be, if we're talking about one standard lot, that's going to be a pretty expensive pair. But good thing ACAP offers plenty of margin for everybody. And then Swiss yen, again, it's kind of a it's a safe haven. So it's a mix of whether it's up or down. I'm just curious what the reaction is on, if one currency pair gains the upper hand. So it's been in a decent trend from 116 to 121. So I'm thinking that if I put you long, then we'll have to see if it's actually going to top out.
All right. Well, my producer tells me, Casey, you are going to have to put those trades in. So let's review them one more time for everybody so that there's no confusion. We're going to go. Say again, Chris, just so that everybody in the show knows.
Euro Swiss I've got right now, so I've got it open. Which one? It's a
Euro Swiss short.
Short.
Got it.
Yep. Okay.
And then dollar peso long. And Swiss yen long. Yep.
And Swiss yen long. Okay.
Okay. Euro Swiss is on, and now we're gonna go with the USD peso, and that is a long as well.
Yep.
Okay.
And we're all going to go, just so that everybody in the audience knows, these are equal weighted trades, one lot per each. We're not really gonna force everybody to do different sizes because it's really much more about how you're gonna manage the risk. Otherwise, this game could become very easy. You could just, Chris could just force him at 100 lots and just pull out.
That'd be too easy.
We don't want to do that.
Low trade.
Swiss yen, which one? Long or short?
Swiss yen long. Swiss yen long.
Yep. Got it.
All right, super.
Okay, they have been executed.
We got those beautiful trades, and we're going to see how they're floating around. And now, Casey, your turn to do the evil deed and choose 3 trades for Chris, and Chris is going to put them into his account, and we'll manage them from that end. Go ahead.
Okay, so my first trade for Chris is going to be the CAD yen short.
Short CAD yen. Okay.
And I'm also going to have Chris.
So one lot, Chris. One lot.
Yeah, one lot.
We're going to equalize on all of this.
Got it right here. Okay.
Also, short the pound yen.
Short pound yen. Okay.
Short pound yen. Ooh. This is, that could be a really interesting pain point over there. Okay.
And the last one would be going long on the New Zealand Canadian.
New Zealand Canadian long. Okay. All right. I think I have New Zealand CAD already up. If I don't, there it is right there. New Zealand CAD long.
Very good.
Okay, and then pound yen short, which I
pound
don't have.
Short.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really stuffing you because if the NFPs turn out, we're going to talk a little bit about non-farm payrolls because that's going to be obviously our next big event. But I have a feeling, as we were talking about earlier this morning, pound is actually relative strength this morning. We have non-farm payrolls coming up. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's see how everybody's feeling about the event. The market is looking, I believe. I mean, the estimates are all over the place, from 900,000 to 600,000. According to my consensus view here, 674 is the consensus view. But I think the market really is looking for about 800,000. ADPs came out much stronger yesterday, so I think everybody's expecting a big burst in employment gains. Be very interesting to see, because if we have a second disappointment in non-farm payrolls in a row, it's really, really going to sabotage this whole "the world is recovering at an insane pace and inflation is going to run away from us" situation. And I think it's it'll be very interesting. It may flip the dollar around completely the opposite way. So we'll have to see how those numbers print. I know Casey has a view, so let's talk to Casey a little bit about what do you think ahead of the non-farm payrolls. What's your favorite position, and what would you like to do?
Well, I've been, as I was sharing before, I've been watching the US yen. I broke a really key level on the weekly time frame, which is pretty strong, and it's been holding up really well. And I think partially it's been waiting for today's announcement. I think it's been actually waiting. The market is just it's hanging there, waiting for today. For our trading battle, actually, is why it's been waiting. But I would go long on the USD yen today because I think we're going to get some good news. And of course, I honestly don't have inside information there, but I would really like to see good news, and I would like to see that break out, and I think it could start a long-term trend if we get a strong move here today.
Speaking of that, dollar yen 110 right now, 10 years at 162, basically flat on the day. Let's say non-farms does print hot. I mean, maybe it prints super hot to even almost 1 million. That obviously is going to spike everything out. But if you have a long-term view sort of on the growth of the U.S. economy, does that suggest that you're looking dollar yen? Like, what would be your technical target in dollar yen? Where would your first serious take profit would be at what level?
I'm really looking at about the 120 level, and primarily it's technical.
Wow, that's huge. It is 10 big figures.
That is true. It's a lot of movement. But if you look at the historical charts, the yen does move like that, and it does trend pretty nicely. And so this key level that it has broken, which is what I'm looking at as a weekly and a monthly trend line, if we get the continuation, it definitely can continue to move.
I mean,
I'm just looking at weekly charts for further out resistance levels is what I was targeting.
I mean, dollar yen has not been. It's been at 118 last time in 2017, so it's been quite a long time since we've seen those figures. It really is that suggests that U.S. 10-year rates may be at 3% or higher at that point. And we'll have for the first time in a decade, we'll actually have a carry trade going on in the FX market. How about you, Chris? We also have the Canadian employment data. Market is also looking for relatively. Let me see what the CAD numbers are. Market is looking for, where's the CAD?
Negative 23.5.
Negative 23, which is better than the prior one, which was negative 207. Remember, the Canadian, like all the Anglo-Saxon economies, has this very screwy way of doing employment. They have both full-time and part-time commingled. So you can very often get kind of like a negative number.
They're horrible numbers.
And the full-time
they're way off.
Hey, Boris, I want to interrupt just for 1 second because I need to know the rules. I'm currently up on my trades. When am I allowed to close them?
You're not allowed to close them for 10 minutes until after the NFT. This is the whole point. Yes. I know, but they'll be interesting. We're going to come back. This is going to be the first resolution of our challenge. We're going to come back to all of our traders after non-farm payrolls, and they're going to have a choice of close, wrap them with a stop and a target, or keep them. And so we're going to.
Sorry about that interruption.
I'm just saying what I've got up my sleeve with an 8-cap broker. I've got up my sleeve as a possible hedge. So I think my play might be I just get the opposite position and try to manage the winner. Is that a possibility? Can we work our way through the trades that way?
Yes, you can do. Any strategy you guys like. It's all is fair in love and trading. So Chris, back to Canadian. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you have a view? Do you want to take positions?
Yeah, so honestly, technically, I really would like to see some CAD weakness. I think the problem, and I know that the correlation is there, but job numbers could be a big miss today. We could have negative 100,000 for the forecast, negative 23. But I would like to see CAD weakness. I like long pound CAD right now. That's actually one of my positions I've been building the last couple of weeks. I'm long pound CAD from like 69.87, and I'm looking for like 72.50 to 7,300 for some profit. I'm long dollar CAD. I've leveled in towards 2,100 and lower. So I'd like to see a nice pop on dollar CAD long, but I also know that, oil's been just hanging out at 68. Maybe we have highs back in 2018 at 75. So we might just see another melt up and drift in oil, which again is kind of creating that resiliency in the CAD. But as far as the numbers go, I think that, the numbers were shockingly bad last month. I'm curious to see if they come in, at 100K positive or negative 100K and just be way off forecast. But we'll see. I think Euro CAD, pound CAD are my plays for any type of scalping today.
So for our purposes, we're going to put you long dollar CAD at 129.29, Euro CAD maybe 146.92, just for our mark to the market trades right now. For Casey, we're going to put you long dollar yen at 110.09, right in front of the NFPs. And so Casey's long dollar yen 110.09. Chris is long dollar CAD 121.28. I'll give you
get this in now, Boris, like right now.
Sorry?
You want me to get in right now?
Yeah. Let's get in those prices.
All right. You're going to kill my margin here, fellas. Are we going standard lots?
Whatever you like. That's actually this is your trade.
I'm going to go half, Casey. I'm going to go half a standard.
Okay. Up to you. No, you guys can choose your own size because it all depends on the confidence of your trade. And then I guess
I got jacked on a spread too.
Chris is gonna hold it in reserve for pound CAD, depending on how the things go. So let's take a look. Oh, here we go. Here's the numbers. Non-farm payrolls, actual 559, bad number.
559 below. Yep.
Low. Canadian employment, actual A2, forecast is A2, actual minus 68K. So negative Canadian dollar. Dollar CAD is
dropping a little bit.
Did it drop?
It's dropping down a little bit. Dropped about 25 pips. It's now stabilizing a little bit. I've got I had a lot of fluctuation. I was upside on $300. Now I'm back to 40. Getting into positive territory.
Okay.
Question on. So I'm up on CAD yen. I'm up on New Zealand CAD. Can we start closing those trades out?
Yes, you are. You can now start closing your opposite trader trades. And Casey, same to you. You can close your trades if you want. You can put a stop on them, you can hold them and see if you want to milk them.
Okay. Let me take a look and see what we got
I'm up.
here.
I just closed out for 235 profit.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Thanks, Casey.
I'd help
Good
you
trade,
out,
Casey.
man. You're welcome. You are welcome.
How you doing on those slow pokes over there?
I'm kind of, the USD Mexican is crushing me right now.
Okay.
Actually, that was a great
You're welcome.
one. I'm down $500 on that, and I
Okay.
am going to close that one right now.
Okay.
So there's no way you're going to.
All right, man. That was brutal. Yeah. I was going to say that hedge would have been my play. Like, that's why I was like, I've got to go the other direction to see what I can get on non-farm.
Yeah, that was
so dollar CAD long is
Boris
put me in a bit of a pickle here with the dollar CAD, but this would be one I'd stay with.
I am Mr. Market in this thing. Your job is to get out of potholes that I dig for you. That's what trading is all about.
It's summer in Michigan, so I'm used to that construction. I got it.
Exactly. This is are we looking at Casey's screen? Casey's screen is actually looking pretty good, I think, right?
Well, I closed the big loser, and my US Chris's Euro Swiss is up right now.
Good.
And so I'm probably just going to put a stop on that one.
Okay.
And see if it can run. Possibly. I mean, This is so flat. Like Chris said, you see how it's got such strong support down here.
Yep.
So at this point, if it gets down here, I might close it up real quick.
You got it.
Just to salvage some of the profits. And then his Swiss yen that he put me in is doing pretty well. So I'm going to put a stop loss on that one and let it run as well.
Good.
All right. Super.
So there's still hope. It's not over yet.
Not lost.
Yeah. I love it. No. It's great. It's great. You guys are doing a great job managing risk that you didn't expect to manage.
So here's what I'm thinking. Boris, sorry. So you put me in long dollar CAD. I'd like to hedge right now and just see what that looks like. So because otherwise it's like I'm just going to buy in later. But it's like if we're going to get some movement back down to 120, it's like I'd like to be short right now. So I'm going to short. Oh, you won't let me do it? Are you serious? So I can't short?
It doesn't.
No hedging.
I thought I could hedge. Oh no! Okay.
So I want to actually jump into another position on my US yen.
Talk to me. Go ahead. Okay. You gonna get long more?
Yeah. It's pulled back quite a bit, and I'm starting to see it to bounce, and so. Right. I would probably add another position here. Not right away, but I'm just going to be watching it, looking at doing that here if I can see this bounce, if it's serious.
All right, let's review just the funded data a little bit. You guys sort of squared up on your positions a little bit. We'll let them float a little bit. The funded data is mixed, frankly, because farm payrolls were 559 against 64, so they were a little bit lower. Unemployment rate was actually lower, 5.8 against 5.9. Average earnings were good year on year with 2% against 1.6. Clearly, wages are having an upward impact. That should be good for spending. That should be really good for further growth. Private payrolls were a little bit lower. That was the key thing at 492 versus 610. Average hourly work week was the same, and average earnings month over month was 0.5% against 0.2%. Another strong. I mean, double the expected number. So. I think the takeaway here is that ultimately this is positive U.S. economy. Yes, maybe jobs are not coming back at the pace that everybody expected, but they are coming back and they're getting paid more money. And if that means that they're getting paid more money, that means there'll be much more money in the U.S. economy and the growth should continue on an upward trajectory, which is why you're not really seeing the 10-year yields drop that much. They're 1.618 against 1.6215. And you really, I think Casey's instinct here to get long dollar yen is a pretty good one because I think it's going to stabilize. The market is going to calm down a little bit and maybe an interesting, it may be an interesting rally back up. It'll be a good test of your idea of whether they keep on buying any of the dips in dollar yen here. That that they're long-term believers into the U.S. growth story. In the meantime, you're getting killed on your dollar CAD, Chris. I don't know if you close it.
I didn't close it yet.
All right, you're watching that carefully.
So I'll keep it on.
Having seen the data and having kind of absorbed a little bit of where we're at, what do you think? Where do you think are the interesting currency pairs trades right now at? Like what looks post-event, what looks good to you at this point? You still like pound CAD Chris?
I'm gonna take a quick peek at it really quickly on my other screen here. So pound CAD long. So the chart alarm I need to see trigger is 71.75. If we can break that level, I think it's pretty clear towards 73 plus. So I'm going to remain long on that one. But that's the key resistance level at 170, 175. If we break that, I think it's smooth sailing for a couple hundred pips. So like I said, I'm long at 69.87 and holding. So I'll give it some time in this one. It's been really choppy the last couple of weeks. Dollar CAD's fighting back a little bit, but I think I might end up closing out for a small loss in this one. It just hit that 23.
So don't. For those of you who like to trade dollar CAD, I can't emphasize this enough. Remember, the first move in dollar CAD is almost always the false one. They love to take it. They have a news reaction, and they always try to take it back to original levels, almost like a charm. So Chris is actually trying to trade this idea and trying to get out of more or less break even or a minor loss on the trade, because the downward trend may resume here. But this is a very, very common dynamic in dollar CAD. They love to flush it and then change the direction and let the dealers recover some of their inventory as the trade action goes on. Any clear, and there's dollar yen up 10 pips since Casey bought it. Good job. So they are buying they are definitely buying a dip. As I said, and even the 10-year yields are recovering 162.8. So they're not turning positive. As I said, it seems that the market view now is that the U.S. economy really is kicking, and more importantly, much more importantly than jobs, is wages. Wages are certainly seeing an upward pressure. Whether you think that's inflationary or not is less important than the absolute fact that the more people get paid, the more they're going to spend, and that is incontrovertible. That's definitely going to be positive for the U.S. economy, good for growth, and so that should be better for the U.S. dollar. Which, by the way, hey, so euro is spiking here. Pound is strong. Anybody want to fade any of those? Like, do you think that U.S. dollar stages a little bit of a comeback here? Let's take a look at those pairs post-event.
Yeah, I'm waiting for an update here. I've got this currency strength chart running. I'll bring it up on my screen. So I watch this every 5 minutes. We get a nice little update. So at 8:40, I'm going to see where this dollar, because we might see the dollar bottom off this and see the Aussie and the New Zealand start to dip. So I think the dollar ends up fading off of some of these pops. So I would be looking for at least just kind of a neutral position.
Can you bring us back to the currency strength chart? And
of course. Yep.
Can we talk a little bit about that? So for a lot of people who don't understand, what does this really show, and how are you using this in your analysis?
Yeah, so I look at this every day, and so basically this is the start of the trading day, and so you can see, like, as we roll into Asia session, as we roll into the London session, you can see that essentially we just expand in volatility. So more of the active zone trading through London session, US session, and so with the news this morning, you can see a lot more volatility, and so the winner of the day so far, according to 8:39 a.m. Eastern time, is we have the New Zealand and the Aussie the strongest. We have the dollar that just dropped from non-farm as the weakest. But what I want to look for here is this updates every 5 minutes. So in 1 minute, do we see this actually starting to bump off the lows and then see this start to dip off the highs, which means to me the news would be reacting of we had that strong push and flush out on the dollar, and then we start to neutralize that news, in the next maybe half hour or so. But that's what I use it for. Yeah, it's every 5 minutes. So I mean, it's essentially a nice little screenshot of what's the strongest, what's the weakest. If I'm looking for opportunities on a daily basis, I'm usually referencing this to make sure that I don't just have to arbitrarily scalp one currency pair. It's like, let's try to find what is strong versus weak and see how that looks in the larger context.
Sounds great. Thank you. What a great tip. Thank you so much. It's really, really interesting. What about you, Casey? Aside from yen, any yen crosses that look good to you? Anything else on the charts that?
Well, if we talk about the yen, I like the CAD yen as well. To the
long side.
It's really got a nice bounce off of this support area.
Let's get you long here. I'm going to put you long. Let's put you long in that trade. Let's put your money where your mouth is. Because
you got it. You got it.
Right. Okay.
The chart, the candle's going to be closing here pretty soon, so I'll just jump in there right there.
Okay, it's a good looking candle. It's a beautiful looking candle. It's a clear sort of.
It landed right off of the support level, so it reacted really nicely on that.
Right, and it's an hourly, so it's significant. It's not just sort of like a 1 minute thing. It's a big swoosh. Suggested at the very minimum we probably consolidate for a little bit, but if we can push up that should be very helpful to your trade. And remember, for everybody who's watching us, the traders have the option to hold on to their trades post our trading pattern challenge. So we were going to do a mark to the market view of where everybody's positions stand at the end of the session. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the final winner, because if they choose to hold on to their positions post the session and those positions actually gain as the day goes by, they're going to be the ultimate winner. So remember that. And I'm sure Casey, looking at this, if this kind of holds all the way through the trading battle challenge, may choose to hold on to this for the next couple of hours. And that could work very well.
I have to hold, or else there's no chance, because Chris got me down negative 500 again.
Chris stuck a shiv with you.
I put him in the loco trade.
That was very, very smart, because what Chris
it was.
I didn't even think about this, but we're looking at the majors, we're looking at all the volatility in the FX, which is tiny, like 5-10 pips an hour, nothing. But when you choose something like dollar MEX or even dollar Turkey, something that has just ridiculous volatility relative to everything, by very definition, if you're just partially right, you're going to decimate the other guy's account.
Yeah. Plus the hedge play was really smart too. That was my strategy didn't work out as well, but just to give you guys a basis, I didn't explain. My strategy was I went to a currency strength meter, just like what Chris did, and I looked at the absolute worst pairs over the last
top
month,
and bottom,
and that's what I picked. So that was my strategy.
So you picked the worst pairs.
Yeah, I picked the absolutely worst performers in the last 30 days.
30 days. So Chris was looking on the intraday charts. Were you looking like on sort of like a 30-day look back period? Is that how it was looking? Do you have do you have it on your? Could you show us how you were looking at that? Do you have it on your screen or no?
Yeah, I actually use a tool that's really similar to Chris's. It's one that I created on my website. It's a currency tool.
Nice.
And you just, I just went through here and I'm like, okay, CAD yen, this thing is really strong, so why not short it in the past month, right? And if you look at the chart, you can see it as well. And then I didn't want to pick the USD CAD because it was bottoming. But then I went with the pound yen and the New Zealand CAD. So I just get the top 5 worst pairs and I would just pick the ones from there using this tool here.
Nice.
Got it. So
just the same tool that Chris uses. It's just displayed differently, really.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting. It's great. That's a super interesting tool. I'm glad that you guys, clearly the fact that both of you guys use it means that it really helps you in your day-to-day trading. We sort of stabilized a little bit. Markets are a little calmer. Dollar CAD almost back up to 2,100. Chris, what are you doing? Did you take out that trade? Are you still floating it?
I took it out because I wanted to close out with some profit. So I got this thing back up to like less than like 120 on the downside. So I just closed it. I was contemplating buying back in to try to level it out. But what I'd honestly like to do is I think that if you take a look at my screen, so I'm looking at these kind of 30% pullbacks, and I missed my chance. But this is what I like to do on these 1-minute news announcements is if I drag the fib right there, I really like this 30 to 38% pullback to buy and see if it retests the high. I missed my chance right there. That's Aussie dollar to buy, right? 60 or 76.88. Euro dollar is going to do the same thing. This one I might go long on to see if we can retest the high. Pound dollar, New Zealand dollar, I missed it. That was my 38% pullback. Dollar CAD, there's my 38% pullback, and I'm looking to see if we retest the low. So if I'm able to catch those trades where we have that first news flush down, I like to see if it will create the bottom, retest the low, or create the high, pull back, retest the high. I just did that. So like I said, I missed my chance.
Where are we at? This is what is this? This is Euro.
This
CAD?
is Aussie dollar. This is Aussie dollar right now, but that's my pullback that I missed. I missed the chance to buy to retest the high.
Would you get short here on the double top or no?
No, because we could go through that. If this really is going to be a push for the morning against the dollar, I would rather be long Aussie dollar right now. And that's also reflecting.
Remember, Aussie dollar was down 1%, like 120 basis points yesterday, 1.2%. One of the largest drops in a very, very long time. So
I think that was a little bit anticipatory of today. Like, I think a lot of, movements were probably priced in. I mean, I still like, look, I think we're going into range trading for the summer. I mean, I don't see the dollar really breaking, significant lows or, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar breaking highs necessarily. I think we're still pretty range bound. So,
but for now, what's interesting is that for now, it's sort of, you can play it both ways. You could say, it's really sold off hard whatever bounce they have today, they're going to short the bounce, or they're going to, you may take the position of it's short covering. I think you should short it. Short it right here. Come on, be a man.
You want me to short it?
Short it.
Be a man.
I think the dollar is not. I think the dollar is not as bad as it looks. I think yields are starting to come up now. We were up to 1.627 on the 10-year, and Aussie is a wounded.
I'll tell you this, Boris. I'll short it at 77.15. I'm not going to short it right now, but I'll short it at 77.15 for you. Come on, give me some wiggle room here, man. Give me some wiggle room.
No wiggle room. There's no trading battle. There's no wiggle room in the trading battle.
I think long term the Aussie dollar has an opportunity to break out, but I think short term it's moving right into the middle of that consolidation that we've seen. And it's could.
But I'm talking about for the next 10 minutes. You see the thing. Yeah. If you listen to me, you would have been short at 3.
All right, Boris, I know. It'd be like 77.
I'm using your setup to trade your way. As I said to you guys, I think the dollar is going to be stronger than the market thinks, and that gives us a chance here. Now, euro dollar, by the way, who wants to take a look at the euro dollar? Pull up the euro dollar. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna. It's testing that 50 level, which is always, the half penny level is always an interesting zone to consider. But I think it's. I also don't think it's really going to hold. It's going to hold its bid at this point. So. Was this? Are you putting a pending at? You putting it at 77.15?
Yeah, I've got one in. I put one in for you, but I'm going to go 77.15 as well.
Okay,
and just throw that out there so I can at least play with it a little bit as far as the numbers. But if this retests at 38, I'm gonna close up and grab a few more bucks.
Sure, you got it. Okay, that's interesting. So one of the interesting things that we have a couple of seconds here. One of the interesting things that you'll see Chris do right now, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that, is Chris will do a lot of what I call probative entry positions. He'll enter a small size position and just see how the market is acting, right? You'll have a thesis, you'll see how the market is acting, and then you may actually add small size if it goes against you up to a certain level to just kind of watch. One of the things you were telling me about before when we were talking before the show is that you had one of the greatest trades last year in Aussie Kiwi, where you traded it for like $100,000 profit over a 4-month period. And can you just run us quickly through how you traded that pair and the main thesis for why you traded that pair?
Sure. Let me bring it up here. Actually, I'll keep it. Let me open up on 8cap. I'll make Martin happy.
Sure.
All right, let's find Oz and New Zealand here. It's pretty easy to see on the daily chart. So let's go to the daily. Let's get rid of this grid candlestick. Shift this over. Okay, so let's go back to, this is the trade right here. So I'll just highlight it. If everyone can see, this is the area that I'm focused on. And so what was created was we had some consolidation and the Aussie New Zealand right up here. And when I saw this break down, I was interested in buying it starting here and just leveling myself in with, like Boris said, the small trade sizes. And so that was essentially my thesis. I'm going to start here. I'm going to level myself in at major support, and I'm going to work my way down to, and this is 2020. So we're talking about a 5 and 6 year period of support. And so I had levels from 105 and 104 and 103 and 102 and 101. And I didn't get filled at 1.00 because it was just off of those lows during that COVID crash in March. But what I did do is these were all of what I just call test trades. Yes, I wanted to be long, and my target the whole time I'm getting long in the Aussie New Zealand was right here. That little inefficiency, that pocket on it was an RBNZ rate decision, or it was something where we just created this really nice inefficiency. So that was going to be my profit target. So I'll circle this in green. And that was going to be my destination to take profit eventually on the trade. So let me get this all green. There we go. So this is going to be my profit. So what ended up happening was I get filled small, I get filled small, I get filled small, I get filled small. And, I run a trading room, and I had a bunch of traders who are like, Chris, is this thing going to turn? I'm like, hey, if you don't like it, then you can get out of the trade. But when we saw this bottom, what I started to do was put buy stops, buy stops, buy stops, buy stops, buy stops. And I built myself back into this position. Once I cleared this level and everything was going my way, I just sat and held all of my positions until it hit profit. And so what started off as 4 or 5 trades ended up being like close. I had 18 trades running long, and that's when I closed out here once we hit that 107, 107.50 level.
Hey, Chris, can I ask you, those yellow levels that you drew, you had bought on each one of those?
Correct. They were all pending. So I was in, I'll go back to yellow like you said, so it makes it easier.
Like to summarize, Chris was limit buys
on
the downside, and when it turned, he became buy stop
buys.
Wait a second. So when you say limit buy, it was
going against me. It was pending
up?
orders. Nope, pending orders when they're falling. Right. So let's start over. So it's like I had when this was created. Okay, when this was created, I'm like, let's see if I can get filled here if price falls, and it did. So I got filled level 1, and then my next level is right here, and I had pending buy at all these levels, and so I'm filled on all these trades. Then once we had our bottom, I switch over and I say, and I tell traders this a lot. There are multiple ways in which I'm willing to add to a trade. One is I'll just put a buy stop in. If I'm convinced, and again, I'm convincing myself if it's going my way, I'll put a buy stop in and just say, you know what, if it goes 50 pips, I'll get in. If it goes another 50 pips, I'll get in. And so that way it's not like I'm looking for pullbacks, I'm looking at Fibonacci's, I'm looking at trend line breaks. It's like if it's going to go up, I just want to get in. And so that's what I ended up doing is every 50 pips, I started separating buy stop levels and just got back in. And so this is price is going my way. And I just rode this thing as long as I could until this pocket was filled. And that's where I took profit. So it was, like I said, testing the small levels and then adding to the winner.
So was that your profit level from the beginning? That was where you wanted it to go.
Yep.
And that's great. So it just takes, that's a really good way to do it. It just takes a lot of patience, lot of patience.
Did the same thing
a lot
there.
of people struggle.
Did the same thing there. I mean, this pair has been really good to me. Like, I mean, so again, hopefully it's not something that all of a sudden backfires on me, but I don't think, using daily and weekly charts and historical 5-6 year support resistance levels, it's pretty strong. So that's why we were talking about this before the show started. I was curious to see, does this Aussie New Zealand have the ability to do something like this? Let me change the color here, make it a little bit easier to see. Is it going to do like, do we have this run? Is this trying to make some type of corrective move here? Maybe it's a harmonic pattern. If that's the case, I'll be looking to buy in this area and take this back up into some type of structure. When in fact, this last week, I was like getting really excited about it because if I zoom in, okay, can we see this candle right here? I was like pumped. I was thinking this is going to be a great trade. Here we go again. I'm going to build up another position to target that RBNZ rate decision, but we turned right back around. So I was long at 106.30 and I took profit this week on it. But I was going to build a position to target that same candle. Instead, it just ended up paying me this week. Got it. So,
all right, that's a
good time.
Awesome trade. Thank you for walking us through it. Definitely, definitely the one for the ages. Let's go back to Casey for a second. Casey, how's your positions going? How are those stops going? Are you managing?
Well, my best trade is Chris's trade. So that's great. Thank you. And I'm managing
it. Hardly up.
I'm up about $170. And what I like about it is I was just looking at it on an hourly time frame first, is it's breaking out pretty strong here. And there's a consolidation period. You see how it's been really flat and consolidating? And so if we can continue with a little bit of momentum and break on a daily time frame, it's a nice consolidation and just a step which could be another level. So I'm definitely going to manage this and hope that we get a little bit of more momentum in the next couple of days when we finally close out. Might be a really nice trade. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm. It still hasn't broken out of the range yet, so it's not decided. But if it can get out of this consolidation pattern, that would be really good.
Good. Now you're a little bit down. You're literally long 3 yen crosses, right? You're yen.
All yen. I'm
long yen, euro yen.
Yeah.
And those are a little bit underwater. But of course, if dollar yen turns today, like if it sort of kind of holds bid, but if it turns by the end of the day, we're back up to 110. All of that is going to really look very good for you. The whole account is going to turn completely around. So I guess for now, you're going to hold those positions.
I'm going to hold them. I'm going to be watching this key support level, which you can see right here. Well, that doesn't look good. right here is a support level, and then it also hit here. And so I'm going to be watching that, and if it gets below there, that's where I'll take it out.
Can you give us that? What's the number on that? What is the support level? Because it's hard.
Let me see here. What is that? It is 109.20
okay.
level.
All right. Yeah. So we're quite we're 50, 60 pips away from that. It's unless we have some kind of a massive flush down. The dollar yen seems to be holding in that 70, 80s. Definitely feeling a little bit of heat. Off of, I guess,
pushing down pretty strong right now. So the momentum is really hardcore down.
Yeah,
it's correlating with yields. I think the market is just the yields are really trying to make up their mind. The 10-year is vacillating between 161, 162. It was up to 162.5 and then came back down to 161.3. So all of that is really, I think, dollar yen is just sort of really reflecting that indecision in the rates market as to exactly where things stand. Again, mixed result. It's not a situation that's going to force Fed's hand right now, but clearly, at this point, you're starting to see some wage pressures in the U.S. economy, and I think the big takeaway here is the U.S. economy continues to fire in all cylinders. Let's take a look at the scoreboard as it stands now. We're going to have a mark-to-market numbers. I think, if I'm going to kind of guess, Chris is going to be a little bit up. I'm not sure.
I'm down 700 and he's up 100.
I'm up 115.
So he's way ahead of me.
Right. So Chris is way ahead of you, but the game doesn't go to the fastest. It goes to those who hold on the longest. So Chris so far seems to be repeating. His defending champion is holding his title for the time being. Partly because he really killed Casey with the dollar MEX trade, which was a brilliant tactical move. But things can really turn around, especially even before the end of the day today, if dollar yen goes bid. So I'm going to watch that very carefully. It's been super fun, guys. We've had a great session. I hope everybody really enjoyed it. Lots of different trades, and the way you guys have been reacting to what I would call is surprising positions. The kind of stuff that the market does to us all the time has been a testament to your risk control and your real understanding of charts and markets. So it's been a real pleasure to watch you guys.
And it's been fun. Thanks for having me. And I would say, though, being on the show definitely throws a little, and I'm not making excuses, but it definitely adds a little pressure because I ended up doing the opposite of what I would normally do. And it's like, why did I do that? So,
what would you, so interesting. Can we just ask you, what would you have done? Like,
I actually usually wait for after the payroll announcement. And then it's odd, but maybe it's just, I do the very similar strategy to Chris as I wait for the announcement, and I don't ever trade on the original announcement because the spreads are too high and everything's just crazy. But I just wait for that initial drop, then I wait for the pullback, and then I get in after that, which is exactly the same strategy that Chris had highlighted.
Got it.
Could I just talk really quickly on the current dollar positions? Because what I'd like to see, so I'm now at that the Aussie dollar 77.15. I got filled on that one, so I just want to show a 1 hour chart, and I could actually go to several dollar pairs. So I'm going to hold the Aussie dollar short right now, and I think that we can come back to this level right here. I'm pretty excited about, if we come back into this structure. That's why I was looking to short at 77.15. I think that if we have some indecision on the day, I'm looking to come back to this area and see if I can turn this into a positive trade, take a few more bucks out of that Aussie dollar. But really quickly, the other pairs like dollar Swiss coming into some major support. I mean, this is the type of inefficiency that I like to see. And so if this ends up coming down to these lows, I like buying dollar Swiss to take it back up there in the short term.
It's 89.50, right? That's 89.50.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And I would take it back up towards 90.20 to 90.30. I think that we can, find that level next week and have a nice little scalp opportunity. So the levels I'm looking for.
That was it.
No, dollar Swiss. I mean, all the dollar pairs are showing that type of pocket right now.
So two trade ideas from Chris is on a parting basis. Dollar Swiss possibly into the 89.50 buy for pop back up to the 90s, and Aussie CAD corrective off of this pop back down to 76.80. Anything else that you're seeing, Casey, that you want to give us as a parting shot?
I don't think so. I think I covered my thought
Right.
I'm just going to hold that USD yen. You know, I think it's going to carry out and react and bounce.
Definitely. Okay, so remember, if dollar yen goes to 110, Casey's going to look very, very good by the end of the day. So thank you, guys. It's been another awesome, awesome session of Trading Battle. We had some ups, downs, sideways, lots of movement. And non-farm payrolls were definitely interesting. Now we'll settle in for the rest of the day and see how things go. Chris is mark to the market winner right now, but we'll have to see how the rest of the day goes. Traders are holding on to their positions. Chris is holding on to his Aussie dollar shorts. Casey's holding on to his yen, all yen cross longs, as well as Casey, what was the one position that you had? Is it all yen crosses, or do you have one other position?
Yeah,
there?
It was also Canadian yen.
Yeah, Canadian yen. Yes, all of those positions. And so we'll bring you up to date on all of that. I thank you very much for hanging out with us. It's been another interesting, fun time in the Trading Battle. I hope you guys come back and watch us again. That's it for us. Everybody enjoy the rest of the day. May the force be with you. Boris Schlossberg, over and out. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.